bad start for the United Nations COP30 conference. And actually, well, kind of bad news. Of those of you who like the royal family and had high hopes for Prince William and future Prince William, future King William, and King Kate or Queen Kate being a little better on the climate issue than their old man, I have bad news for you. Andy, why don't you go ahead and play this video of one of the opening speeches at COP30 by one Prince William.
All of us here today understand that we are edging dangerously close to the Earth's critical tipping points, thresholds beyond which the natural systems we depend on may begin to unravel. The melting of polar ice, the loss of the Amazon, the disruption of ocean currents. These are not distant threats. They are fast approaching and will affect every one of us, no matter where we live. Communities around the world are already facing rising seas, extreme heat, wildfires, floods, droughts, and increasing frequency of extreme weather.
Now, I must go straight to the Archbishop of Canterbury, who I believe is a subject of the crown, to break down for us which one of those claims that Prince William put forward are true and which are false.
Well, first, you're wrong. I'm not a subject of the crown. I'm a American citizen, so I'm part of a republic, not democracy, by the way, a republic. Look, I'm torn between thinking, God, I like the monarchy for others, but they need a new house. The House of Windsor is spent here in England. It's time for a change because these guys don't ever learn. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, well, hold it. If he's right, everyone's going to be affected. I'm well situated for when the oceans rise. I've got property that could become oceanfront property. I mean, it's hundreds of miles from the ocean now, but if the seas rise enough, I might be well situated for the beachfront property. Maybe I should buy some stuff in Arizona and wait for California to go under. Climate change. It's not all bad. No, it's just these tipping points. Look, we've covered this multiple times. We've got, I forget how many shows. What show are we on? 160 more. We've got
181.
181. We probably covered tipping points in 40 to 60 of those shows at one point or the other. They can't identify a single tipping point that's actually tipped. And it's a tipping point is not just reaching something, but it's once you've gone over it, once you've reached it, it has a cascading effect impacting all these other things. They can't identify one that's having cascading effects. They've made hundreds of predictions over the years. Not a single one's been right. And yet we still listen to clowns like this.
Yeah.
Not listen to them. I'm not sure we're all listening to them, but we have to, the media keeps inflicting them upon us.
Yes. And so we must inflict it upon our poor audience, poor suffering audience here.
That's right, Jim.
Look, there's a few more aspects of this about being a bad start I want to get to. There's a story here from Reuters, and then we could throw it to more panelists here. And more bad news going into the big confab down there in Brazil. Headline is EU agrees weakened climate target in final hour deal for COP30. So this is really more expected. This is more reality hitting the global greenies in the face. Let me read a little bit from it. EU climate ministers agreed to a 2040 climate change target in the early hours of Wednesday after watering down the goal in last-minute negotiations as they raced to clinch the deal before the UN COP30 summit in Brazil. After negotiating late into Tuesday night, climate ministers from European Union countries approved in a public vote a compromise to cut emissions 90% by 2040 from 1990 levels, but with flexibilities to weaken this aim. The weakened target would let countries buy foreign carbon credits, to cover up to 5% of the 90% emissions cutting goal. That would effectively weaken to 85% the emissions cuts required from European industries and pay foreign countries to cut emissions on Europe's behalf to make up the rest. The EU also agreed to consider the option in the future to use international carbon credits to meet a further 5% of the 2040 emissions reductions, potentially shaving another 5% off the domestic target. Quote, setting a climate target is not just picking a number. It is a political decision with far-reaching consequences for the continent, said Danish Climate Minister Lars Agard. Quote, therefore, we have also worked to provide comfort that it can be reached in a way that preserves competitiveness, social balance, and security. The story also notes that in their wisdom, Poland, Slovakia, and Hungary are completely opposed to this whole thing and will not participate. Yet the rest of Europe keeps going.
No, two other countries abstained.
That's good. I mean, maybe it's getting up there. But Myron, the idea that this that these numbers are meaningful and we're not just pulled out of the air when they can basically just change them on a whim at any time they want and act like it's meaningful.
Yeah, well, you're right, Jim. On the one hand, it's all pretend, but on the other hand, they're destroying their economy, right? Look, the German automakers went along, they buckled under, they went along with the idea that all vehicles that are going to be sold in a few years are going to be electric. And now they're finding out, oh my God, what have we done? How much money are we going to lose? And it turns out that Chinese EVs are, affordable and German ones are not. So, Germany's economy depends on autos and chemicals, and both of those are energy intensive. And the product of the auto industry, cars, use a lot of energy. So it's all pretend, and they live in a fantasy world, but they're destroying their economy through these fantasies.
Yeah, for sure. I want to bring up
they even backed off the electric automobile goal because they said they changed it so part of the green credits could be met by sustainable fuel automobiles that could run. So long as we're destroying rainforest in developing countries to plant palm seed oil so we can make biodiesel for our engines here in the West, that's going to count as towards our emissions goals and our meeting our standards.
And in America, we have the huge ethanol mandates still.
Yeah. So
which is another scam.
It's all a scam. And if you look at what they just agreed to, they not only up to another 10% could be offset, but they said, and also we're going to look at it in the future, and if we have to, we can make adjustments. So they adjust it down to 70% or 60% when they start butting up against the high cost, butting up more than they already are against the high cost of their plans.
Yeah, this has been going on now. This is what, COP 30? So that means they've had 30 of these meetings. And it's the same story every time, as captured by our friend in the UK, Cartoons by Josh. This week is Hot Topic. Where's my money? Is there money available? Send us more money. It's all about the money. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on. And they've had 30 conferences now, and the planet is still doomed, according to them. They've not accomplished one damn thing.
And global emissions keep going up as well. Nothing has changed, and mostly because of China, but because of everyone else as well. And while we still have that up here, I want to, speaking of, some of our comments are saying get a real job. These are two of our friends and our streaming partner from CFACT. They're on their way to COP 30, and thanks to the government shutdown, lots of flights were delayed or canceled, and so this is how much dedication our friends at CFACT have to get down there to COP 30 and to be the only voices of reason to the globe. So I actually recognize both of those gentlemen. I will not embarrass them by saying their names, but you know who you are, and Myra knows who they are, and everyone here knows who they are.
Jim, they've been guests on this show before. They have.
Jim, we should have put a little donate now to say so many of CFACT individuals are suffering cold and without a home.
COP 30 refugees.
Yeah, and put in the arms of an angel over it. And
oh my gosh, yes, this is a future meme. I actually really admire our friends at CFACT for employing homeless people in the organization. That's really, really big of them. All right.
What I don't understand is, since all these people get so much oil money, why they just didn't go to the oil barons club at the airport,
let me say one last thing about COP30 and all the COPs. It's come full circle now. Remember, the whole UN Framework Convention on Climate Change began in Brazil, not in Berlin, but in Brazil, in Rio, back in 1990 under George H.W. Bush. We signed on to a treaty. They've signed multiple treaties and agreements since then. Every one of them set different goals. Not a single treaty's goals, not one, has been met. We didn't become carbon neutral by 2000, which was the first goal. We didn't cut 7% below 2005 levels by 2015, the second goal. You know, you pick your target. We did 2015. We haven't met the Paris Agreement goals. Not a single agreement. The world continues apace. Fewer people are dying from extreme weather than ever before. Fewer people are starving than ever before. There's not a single city that they predicted would be swamped has been swamped. The Arctic is not ice-free. Polar bears populations are expanding. The point is, the agreements fail and climate is not destroyed. And the agreements are just words on paper because no country has met their goals.
Yep. Cool.
We're
All
back,
right.
we're back in Rio and we're back in Brazil and nothing's changed.
Yep. All right.